Well, I think anytime you set the bar where we've set it the last 2 years, getting to the national championship game, winning this last year, that's become something that we feel like we should do. And that's kind of, I think, automatically becomes, hey, this should be our goal, is to win this game, win that game, win enough games where we can say, hey, we're going to be competing for the national championship, and our goal is to do that. We feel like we lost some very, very good players, the players that had been here for a while in the system that had really helped establish the bar where it is now as being high. But they had to work to get it there, as this team will have to work to meet that. I feel like we have all the right pieces to meet that challenge, but it's going to take hard work. It's going to take us gelling as a team. We don't have quite as long as last year's team had to reach that spot, but I think there's enough carryover from last year's team, enough hunger, enough girls saying, hey, we know what it took to get there, and we're willing to do that again. Specifically, some of the girls that we've brought in, I think Rebecca Rorkasi is going to help us a lot at the forward spot, and just brings a different flavor to the game, being kind of a big that can go inside and outside and can pass well. And she'll complement Amber, who down low is just going to be a great player for us. And she's had a good career already, but I think she's ready to really blossom there. At the point guard spot, I feel very comfortable with Bree out there. She's started for us for 4 years, and so she has a pretty good understanding of what we want to do inside and outside, and what we want to look for offensively and defensively. The addition of Tiana Jones as one of our guards, as a JC transfer, I think brings us more speed than we've had. Amanda Sims is just a hard-nosed, coming from Long Beach State and Troy High School, where I actually had her in class as a high school student. Just is going to make us tough in that area. And then some of the freshmen that are here, Katie Powell from Oregon is just a very, very solid player that's going to contribute significantly to us. And Maddie Barrett, also from Troy High School last year, is a player that both those have, especially Maddie, has played in a lot of big games already at Troy High School, and is, I think, going to be a nice addition to us. But I think we're deep with a number of players from last year that played some minutes, Hanny Kenny, Jasmine Reed, to name a couple, that we think will play a lot more this year and get in and play. Annie Fredrickson, depending on what it is we need inside, is capable of helping us in those post spots. So we feel confident that we've gotten faster than last year's team. We need to be a better defensive team than last year's team was, just because I don't think we have as many weapons. Last year's team had a ton of offensive weapons, and so we'll need to make up for that defensively, and then utilize what weapons we do have on offense.
And you talk about all the components you have, and how last year's team kind of bonded over years and years of playing together. What kind of challenge as a coaching staff do you have to kind of speed up that process, and what do you guys try to do to make that happen?
Crazy glue helps bond. Yeah, that's you have to have situations where you work through things together as a team. And so whether it was a team retreat playing football on the beach, or kayak races, or different things away from the basketball floor that help girls and help each team have a unique experience. And so they look back and it's this team, not I'm a newcomer or I'm someone from the past. It's, oh, hey, we all did this together. And so we've done that. And then as you play games, as you travel, we wake up last Friday morning and there's a foot of snow on the ground. It's like, whoa, that's kind of new and different. And having a snowball fight in the middle of November in Arizona. So just those kinds of things, and then playing every day, practicing, working, using different combinations. But we're going to have to play games. We'll definitely be better at the end of the year than we are at the beginning of the year. I don't think we'll be that good at the start of the year. So now that good's kind of a relative term, but I expect to be a lot better at the end of the year than we were at the beginning.
Now last year, with people who'd been around the program so long, you knew what Christy was going to give you, that she was going to work hard, be a presence for you in the middle. You knew Alex was going to be there for you, competing to the final whistle, giving you big shots. This team, what have you seen in the first month and a half that you've had to work with them? What have you seen about this group's personality so far that has you really excited about their potential?
Their eagerness to learn, their eagerness to put their stamp on the program, their willingness to work hard. I tell them, hey, you know what, we're getting to that line with either the coach is leading or the coach is whipping, one of the two, and it's going to be how do you want to do that? And then they are very, very excited about saying, hey, let's do this together as a group. And I think when you have that feeling of we're all working together as opposed to, okay, I don't want to do this, but coach is making me or something else. There's not that feeling. There's really a feeling of I want to learn, I want to get better. A number of the new girls approach me numerous times, Coach, what is it you're looking for me? What more can I do? How can I help? They just really want, I think they've seen the tradition of Azusa basketball, and they know that's a pretty high standard, and they want to make sure they can uphold that.
And earlier you talked a little bit about kind of the leadership of the group. You got some experience back. In your experience coaching, that leadership transition process, how much of it is set up by the coaches and how much of it just kind of naturally flows from that senior leader group down to that next group of leaders that rises up?
Well, it's a little bit different. Having Christy for the last couple years, she was someone, if you think of a pyramid, everyone knew she's at the top. Just kind of in everything with the Azusa basketball. And right now, if you think of a pyramid, you think of maybe a lot of little pyramids right now that someone's in the top here, someone's in the top here, someone's on the top. There's not everybody under one umbrella, so that's taking time. I would say right now it's not real clear who that person is going to be, and if there is going to be one person that does that, that commands that amount of respect. So. And we knew when we lost Christy that was going to be the case, that we would miss her basketball skills, but also her leadership skills. We've got a lot of people that want to work hard and that want to be involved, that want to be leaders and want to see us do well. I think of us like a Sharia Hughes, who hasn't been a huge contributor on the floor, but has been a huge contributor off the floor and is getting some time, but is also someone that has seen what it takes, has been here. She's a senior, and so she's got a good idea of where we need to go. Also, along with obviously Bree and Amber. So I feel fairly confident that we'll get there, but it won't be quite as much of a given as it was last year, maybe.
And you guys are coming off 2 exhibitions against D1 programs, and you learned from that. But what looking forward? What trips or games have you circled on the calendar, and what are you looking forward to this year?
The exhibitions were good. We learned what we didn't know, and that was a lot. But for us, each time we play, it's not like we say, okay, this is the game. In our conference, every game's a big game. Right now, I'm really thinking about Lubbock Christian because that's our first game. That'll give us a good idea of where we stand. All of our non-conference games, whether it's Lubbock or Wayland, or then we have Lewis and Clark coming in, and Carroll. Those, and then in between that or right after that, I think we play Cal Poly Pomona. So there's some fun local games, and then there's some competitive national games. Obviously, going to Tennessee Kentucky, is pretty big to play Campbellsville and Lindsey Wilson. They're both highly ranked teams. But we kind of I like to go to the state where the national championship's going to be if we can, and just so we know what it's like when we're there the next time. It's not such a new deal for us. So those would be exciting. And then league games our league's going to be tough. I think Westmont almost beat USC last night, so that was it's like, okay, we can play them late November or sometime. So there's some big challenges coming up.
And just after coming off last season's championship, what kind of pressure do you think your team has, or do they have any pressure? Have you seen signs of that, or are they kind of just trying to be their own team?
Well, I think the only pressure we'll have is pressure we put on ourselves, and that's pressure to excel and pressure to do our best. But I put a lot of pressure on us. I feel like we should be good. I feel like we should work hard enough, and if we're not, I feel like that's my responsibility to get us there working hard. So but like I say, when you've put the bar that high, you feel like, hey, we want to do that again, or at least give everything we have to get there. So there's pressure that way, but I don't feel like I'm going to get a pay cut or anything if we don't win the national championship, you know. So, but I think it's just upholding the tradition and the things that we've already set in place.